I am happy that they're letting us do this. So I hope everybody's doing well, and I hope that you enjoy this presentation today. Hopefully soon, within the next few months, we'll be back into congregating a little bit, but I do hope you're all healthy and happy to be here. First, I'm going to get my PowerPoint up. This is going to be a presentation. So let's try to save the questions for the end. I'm new at this and don't know everything about it, so it might be easier if I do the presentation and then we have questions at the end, okay? Thank you so much. So we're going to do natural hacks for the mood. Here it is, slowly but surely. Okay, and I can still see you. Great. Okay. So natural hacks to support a healthy mood. Again, happy to be here. Thank you so much for joining me today. Here's a disclaimer. Information and products we discuss are solely to support health, not intended to diagnose, treat, prevent, or cure disease, so should not be used as a substitute for diagnosis or treatment by a personal physician. So dietary supplements and foods can interact with prescription medications. If you're taking a prescription med, become informed about the possible interactions. The best person to talk to about that is actually your pharmacist. They should have the answers to those questions for you. We do want to talk about the natural grocer's difference, the 5 founding principles. For those of you who aren't sure, if you've been here before during our anniversary, we have a huge celebration. It was last week. It starts August 13th, and this year we did it for 3 days. It's in celebration of Margaret Isely's birthday. Now, she did pass away. She's no longer with us, but she was 65 years old. She would have been 65 years old this year. And the store is 65 years old. These were her principles. So her major focus was focusing on nutrition education. It's very important. She wanted everyone to know that there were healthier alternatives and healthier options out there for the people, not just with food, but also with supplements. She had very high quality standards, as her family still supports to this day. Some products could be the best products on the market, but if the manufacturing company does not recycle, that's bad for the environment. We won't let the product in the store. So it has to be good for you and good for the environment. We have everyday affordable pricing. You really can't beat a lot of our prices in comparison to like Whole Foods or Sprouts or Trader Joe's. We have a great vitamin menu, and of course, a lot of our foods are not only affordable, but they are also incredibly good for you. We have our grass-fed beef, our free-range chicken, our free-range eggs. All of our products are non-GMO, and of course, we have 100% organic produce. We do support our local communities. We actually donate all the time to the senior pantry, and we are always doing fundraisers and donations to the local food banks. And they take really good care of us as employees. So happy employees make a happy environment. So we're actually all very happy to be here. So what does everybody know about the brain? This is some very interesting information, a lot of big numbers there. The human brain weighs 3 pounds and controls all of you, right? So it controls everything we do. It is 60% fat, 25% of that is cholesterol, and cholesterol forms the myelin sheath for nerve protection. So the myelin sheath is very important. It coats those nerves, those neurotransmitter pathways, it helps with communication. So very, very important that we have cholesterol, to a healthy amount in our bodies. As you can see here, there's a lot of neurons, and each neuron has between 1,000 and 10,000 synapses, and it's very important for communication. So each synapse is regulated by thousands of molecular pathways. The brain uses more energy than any other human organ. 2/3 of the brain's energy help the nerve cells send signals, and the remaining third is used for housekeeping or cell health maintenance. So we have a little maid in there. She does stuff and she keeps things clean. When everything is functioning correctly, it's very important to have that housekeeping so that you can continue to have a well-functioning brain. So our complex brain burns 20% of our daily energy budget and weighs less than 4 pounds. So we use a lot of energy in our brain. It allows us to integrate sensory information with conscious thought and decision-making processes. And it means that small changes or disruptions can negatively influence brain function and health. So keep that in mind. When something goes wrong in our body, our brain does not react very well. That's very important. So that's why it's extremely important to maintain homeostasis. So homeostasis is a fancy word for balance, in case you didn't know. We use that a lot in nutrition and in supplements, but homeostasis is regulation. Just like we need blood sugar balance and temperature balance, the brain needs everything to be just right. So it's very important that everything is just right for our cognitive function, for the way we feel, the way we think, the way things go. And if anything does go wrong upstairs or even within the body, it can exponentially affect our cognitive function and our emotional status. Its ability to maintain balance is controlled through neurotransmitter response. And today we're focusing on monoamine transmitters. So they are most important for mood. Keep that in mind. Monoamine transmitters, most important for mood. So they're involved in the regulation of emotion, arousal, and certain aspects of memory. And there are several different types of monoamines. So you're probably going to be familiar with a lot of these. We have histamines, catecholamines, adrenaline, epinephrine, dopamine, and noradrenaline. And then there are classic tryptamines, which are serotonin and melatonin, right? I'm sure you're all familiar with those. All mentioned play a huge role in the mood, behavior, cognitive function, and sleep. And they all require balance. So we need homeostasis of all of these neurotransmitters for us to feel our best and to think our best and to remember. So it's very important that we have that balance. Moving along. So the external and internal stimuli that affect our brain, it makes a big difference. So if anything goes wrong in the environment, in our gut, in our lifestyle, if we're experiencing internal inflammation, even external inflammation, if something has caused us pain, if our diet is good or bad, our metabolism, our neurotransmitter production and function, and our mental health and mood are affected. So it's very important to know that. Not surprisingly, in this day and age, especially brain homeostasis is quite difficult to maintain because all of these things are kind of all over the place right now, huh? Even before the virus happened, you know, a lot of people were dealing with a lot of health issues, and a lot of people already had compromised immune systems, and they already had issues that, you know, had to do with all of these things here. So now there's just one more thing, and it's a pretty stressful thing for a lot of people. So we have to know how to take care of ourselves so that we can have homeostasis in our external and external stimuli to help with our neurotransmitter production and our mental health and mood. So that disruption of homeostasis is a really big deal. Mood often suffers when homeostasis is disrupted. Depression is one of the common health problems in the United States. It's projected to become a leading cause of disability. Disability worldwide by 2020. And women are twice as likely to suffer from a mood disorder and 3 times more likely to suffer from anxiety. So disruption of homeostasis is huge, and imbalances in the brain are perceived as threat. So depression is a neurotransmitter response to threat. When we feel down, when we feel sad, when we feel like something is just wrong, our body is feeling threatened and our brain is letting us know. Depression and anxiety affect 10 to 20% of the US population yearly, and 51% of those with depression also suffer from anxiety. That's a really big number. And then we have the comorbidities. So people with depression are more likely to suffer from rheumatoid arthritis, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, thyroid dysfunction, and digestive issues like IBS, IBD, and SIBO. And individuals with depression are also more likely to struggle with obesity. So as many as 40% of people with rheumatoid arthritis experience significant symptoms of depression, 30% of people with Parkinson's suffer from depression, and 29% of people with diabetes suffer from depression. And then you see here all of these other disorders that kind of seem to follow suit. So thankfully, nutrition plays a huge role in emotional well-being, and a lot of what our brain experiences can be supported by diet and lifestyle change. Maintaining a healthy, positive mood is something millions of people struggle with on a daily basis, and research indicates that when the brain feels under threat, emotional well-being suffers. So when I went to school for my degree, I took both nutrition and psychology because I strongly believe that you really can't have physical well-being without emotional and mental well-being, or vice versa. But these are all the things that are affected. You have your stress and anxiety, your illness, your nutritional deficiencies, and other imbalances. All of these things affect the brain and our mood and how we feel about ourselves and life. So here are the chief complaints we can resolve with what we eat and how we treat ourselves. We can help with stress reduction, modulating inflammation, fixing nutritional deficiencies, and correcting other imbalances. The saying, you are what you eat. Well, you are. If you're eating a lot of sugar, a lot of refined carbohydrates, a lot of processed grains, your body's going to react to that. So lifestyle and dietary change is just a huge factor in how we can improve our mood and our cognitive function. So positive thoughts reduce stress and support a healthy immune system. Self-acceptance appears to produce a more consistent sense of happiness and is the strongest predictor of contentment. So people who are happy with themselves, have accepted who they are comfortable with who they are, have been studied, opposed to the people who suffer from depression and a lot of these other issues, and it's found that self-acceptance plays a huge role. So if you're unhappy with yourself, if you have a problem identifying who you are and why you're here, then there's a good chance that you're having some emotional disdain and some struggle in your life. So it's very important to think positive thoughts, to remind yourself that you're important too, and to make sure that you treat yourself well, because then you can help with your healthier immune function and help with your stress response. It also helps with discomfort. So it supports healthy pain response, which is wonderful. All right, so excessive sitting. I am all too familiar with excessive sitting. For those of you who may not know, I did work for Life Extension for 4 years. I was a wellness specialist in a cubicle. I actually call it a cubicle farm, because you sit there in your little box and you are attached to a machine, and the phone just beeps and beeps and beeps, and you answer that phone all day long and you hardly move. You get breaks and lunch, it's not enough. At the end of the day, you feel very brain dead, very wiped out. You don't want to deal with people, you're very agitated. And it does have a huge impact on your entire body. So as you can see here, excessive sitting and lack of physical activity are shown to result in poor mood, while physical activity is known to increase production of endorphins and feel-good neurotransmitters. So it's very important that you move around. If you have a desk job, it's fine. I'm not against those. They are important. They do need to be done, but you do need to get up and move around. Your body has to be utilized. It must be moved. It's like a car sitting in your driveway. You have to start it, because if you don't, eventually it won't start anymore, right? It's the same scenario. So there was a study in the American Journal of Preventive Medicine that indicated that physical activity 5 times a week, and that can be anything, walking your dog, going for a walk by yourself, it doesn't have to be strenuous, but 5 times a week significantly improved mood. It also uplifted positive self-regard and played a role in reducing depression. So people that were having depressive symptoms found that when they started moving around and doing more, at least 5 times a week, they were feeling better and they did not feel as depressed. Another thing that has been linked to depression is Facebook. It's been linked to low mood in young people, and outdoor exposure is crucial for positive mood and vitamin D synthesis. So remember, I know we like to avoid outdoors, right, especially right now because it's so hot, but the sunshine is just so imperative for who we are. It's so important. We need it so much that just going outside for even 5 minutes in increments throughout the day and getting that vitamin D synthesis is going to help with your mood and your health. So those are all very, very important ways to boost your lifestyle, to help how you feel, and to help your overall mood. A couple of other things are acupuncture, of course, adequate sleep, very important, stress management. And I know that can be broad. Some people think, oh, well, I don't meditate and I don't like yoga. And, you know, you don't have to do something specific. It can be as much as, you know, going for a walk, taking some time out for yourself. Even when you get home, if you want to watch a show without anybody bothering you, you know, go watch your favorite show, read a chapter in your favorite book, whatever makes you feel good, whatever helps you disconnect from the stressful situation to help bring you away from it. That is what that means. That is what stress management is. It doesn't have to be something so specific that you're like, I don't have time for that. It's whatever time you make for yourself. So please understand that that is what that means. It's not specific, it's very broad. Talking to a friend or close family member, hugs are very important. Hugs help reduce stress. Hugging the right person, don't just go up to a stranger and give them a hug. They might not like you. Task completion, organization, doing good deeds, very important. Donation, giving something, you know, donating to Savers or Goodwill or something. Just you don't need it anymore. Give it to someone who can use it. There's always somebody that can use what you're not using anymore. Smiling makes us feel better. We're smiling. We're, you know, smiling at somebody else, smiling because something made us happy, smiling because we are happy. That is actually something that helps stimulate a positive mood response. Learning something new. Believe it or not, we are programmed to like to learn. We want to know things. And so when you learn something new, it's gratifying. Wow, I didn't know that. That's really cool. So now you know that just learning something new, even if it's something small, a fact or, you know, something that you just did not know and you learned it today, that's going to make you feel better. Also, these have all been found to provide self-gratification, releasing feel-good hormones, and in turn modulating your stress response. So very important things. All of those things are very easy to achieve, very easy to do, especially getting adequate sleep. Now, I know some people have issues that prevent them from getting that adequate sleep. Something's wrong. There may be a nutrient deficiency. There may be a hormone imbalance. So it is a good idea to visit your doctor if you can't get adequate sleep due to an underlying health issue. But for those of you who are just staying up late because you just want to watch that next, you know, the next season of Lucifer or whatever show you're watching right now, don't do it. Shut it off. That season will still be there tomorrow. Make sure you give yourself a bedtime. Okay. Sleep is very important. And of course, we have foods to consume. We all know that there are certain foods that are more critical to our health than others, and foods you should eat and foods you shouldn't eat. So here, of course, we have the vegetables, leafy greens, rich in folate, critical for healthy neurotransmitter production and optimal gene expression. You have your fermented foods that support probiotic bacteria, and your turmeric and fish that both contain compounds that help support a healthy inflammatory response. But there are some things that you should know about these foods and why they're important. So what you eat or don't eat can have a significant impact on your mood. Turmeric has neuroprotective properties, so it's not just a spice or something that you add to your food. It's actually helping with protecting your brain. Your dark chocolate provides a calming effect and serves as an antioxidant. And then there's green tea that provides an amino acid known as theanine, which can be very calming and help with stress response. It exudes a calming effect over serotonin, dopamine, and GABA activities. So it's actually promoting and supporting 3 different neurotransmitter responses. So it's very important to know. Okay, and then of course there's foods to avoid, which I'm sure you can already think of some things that you probably shouldn't eat and you just can't help yourself, like pizza, that's hard, sugar, candy, sweets, pastries, donuts, those types of things. All the things that we love because they've always been there, they're grab and go, they're easy. We've pretty much been conditioned to love them, right? So it's really hard when you are told that some of the things that you love so much are so bad for you, and then you have to figure out how to break away from those things. Refined sugars and processed grains lead to blood sugar fluctuations, usually higher blood sugar, and then a really significant drop that then causes us to want more sugar to get that level back up. Processed and refined sugar intake alone can exert a toxic effect on mental health and mood. And as you can see here, it discusses wheat in particular being implicated in sad mood due to brain disruptive proteins created from gluten. Omega-6 fats in the diet from the standard American diet promote inflammation, and this is interpreted by the brain as danger, which results in feeling down. Then we have sugar suppressing the production of hormones that promote brain health. So BDNF, which is brain-derived neurotrophic factor. It's a very important hormone for the brain, and the levels are critically low in depression. So if you're depressed, you have a very low level of BDNF, which is a hormone that the brain needs, and it needs it in much higher levels. And sugar is actually suppressing those levels. And sadly, when we're depressed, you want sugar, because sugar makes us feel good. It's instant gratification. It doesn't last very long, so then we want more, which is another reason why we have issues with weight gain and things of that nature. One of the things that are important to know too is that both gluten, well actually all 3, gluten, sugar, and omega-6, they all impose inflammation on the body and the brain. So when we have inflammation, we have issues and chemical disruptions throughout our entire body that are impacting how we feel and how we function. And that's actually very critical and very dangerous to our health moving forward. So it's very important to understand why you really shouldn't be eating a lot of excess refined sugar. You should really avoid a lot of refined carbs and grains, and watch your omega-6 fats, which are things from fried foods, like fried chicken, chicken nuggets, I know, sad, your cheeseburgers from fast food restaurants. I mean, a lot of things we don't know what they're putting in those foods. We don't know where the sources came from. I can guarantee you it's not grass-fed or pasture-raised. They're filled with hormones and antibiotics, and they're being fed to us, and that's very inflammatory. So keep that in mind. And then, of course, there are supplements, which I love. Having worked for Life Extension for 4 years, I did learn a lot about how beneficial a supplemental regimen can be, especially for our country, because of the way we eat. Our diets are not good, and it's not entirely our fault, but because of the food choices we make, we are lacking in a lot of supplements that we could be using to benefit our cognitive function and our mood. So There are a large variety of supplements that support brain health. There's 9 here listed, and we will go over them somewhat briefly so that you're not here all day, because I could talk about vitamins all day. But you've got your B vitamins, your SAM-E, your probiotics, your fish oil, magnesium, turmeric, vitamin D, St. Johnswort, and flavonoids, and those are the ones we're going to go over today. So B vitamins. B vitamins are very important. One thing I want to clarify right away is that a lot of times I'll say, are you taking a B complex vitamin? And someone will say, well, I take B12. B12 is one vitamin. Okay, hopefully everyone here knows that. If not, now you've learned something new. If it doesn't say B complex 50 or B complex 100 or simply B complex, it's not a B complex vitamin. It's B1, B2, B3, B5, B6, B9, B7. If it does not say B complex or B complete, something of that nature, it's not all your B vitamins. Okay, so a B12 is one B vitamin. All right. So humans need adequate amounts of 13 vitamins in total. 4 of those are fat soluble. That's A, D, E, and K. Now, when I say K in terms of fat solubility, we're talking about K1. All right. And then, of course, 9 water-soluble vitamins, which are B's and C. So a B complex will give you a combination of all the B vitamins needed, which is thiamine, and that's B1, riboflavin is B2, niacin is B3, pantothenic acid is B5, B6 is P5P or pyridoxine, B7 is biotin, B9 is folate, and B12 is in its best form methylcobalamin, in its standard form cyanocobalamin. Okay. B vitamins support healthy mood, nerve function, healthy metabolism, sleep, cognitive health, energy, and weight management. They are required for healthy gene expression, normal metabolic function, and cellular energy production, neurotransmitter synthesis and breakdown, DNA synthesis and repair and maintenance of brain cells. And this is all coming from these vitamins right here. B7 is not really mentioned, probably because biotin is more of a supplement we think of for hair, healthy hair, skin, and nails, but it is still a B vitamin you would find in your B complex in its full combination. All right, and then we have folate. So folate is very important all by itself, and I'm sure that you've heard a woman when she's pregnant needs extra folate, and that's for developmental reasons for the baby, but it's so important for us in general. It helps modulate inflammation throughout the body. It supports healthy homocysteine levels. So if you don't know what homocysteine is, that is arterial inflammation. Your doctors typically start to test you for that as we age, and most of the time it's a little bit high in most people. So folate supports modulating that inflammation. It helps support healthy mood and brain function, and it also helps with healthy hearing. So there was a study that found that people who had high homocysteine levels also suffered from hearing loss. So keep that in mind. Have your doctor check your homocysteine levels and make sure that you are supplementing with a worthy folate product. So folate, which is B9 or folic acid, you've also may have seen it as folacin. It is folic acid synthetically, and synthetically, folic acid has no biological activity unless it is enzymatically converted into folate. So most food folate is destroyed by cooking because it's coming from vegetables, and folic acid is converted into folate through digestion. So the only way to get folate is to digest folic acid, or of course your folate from your food, but we're not getting a lot of it at the end for the end result, which is why folic acid was created, because we weren't getting enough from our food and we were converting folic acid better. Now the problem is there are non-converters these days. It's considered the MTHFR gene mutation, and it's a rather new issue that doctors have found within the past, I want to say 10 years. they found that there were people that were not converting that folate or folic acid into folate into its usable form. So now there is methylcobalamin and methylfolate that are basically already pre-methylated. Just look at it that way. It's already done for you. You take it, it's instantly used by the body. The body likes it, it knows what to do with it. And that way too, it kind of cuts out the middleman. Not everybody can afford a ridiculously expensive test. Not everyone's insurance is going to cover that test. And so rather than guessing, it's better to use the methylfolate and the methylcobalamin forms of B9, your folic acid, and B12, which is typically cyanocobalamin. So since many still do not know if they convert folic acid into folate, this is known as the MTHFR gene mutation. Methylfolate is one of the best forms. It's one of the most usable and highly absorbed forms by the body. Sorry, I'm still getting used to all this. Okay, so then we have SAMe. SAMe can be beneficial for mood. Some people have found too that it helps with their joint mobility. So they find that if they take SAMe, they actually are more mobile. Their joints don't hurt as much. It helps with modulating inflammation. It does work with folate. So it promotes dopamine and serotonin production and supports healthy nervous system, as well as aiding in healthy homocysteine levels. So another thing that will support modulating inflammation throughout the body, helping with those feel-good neurotransmitters, and working with folate to assist in a healthy nervous system and joint mobility. So maybe something you want to try if those are things that apply to you, if any of those things apply to you. I have heard from many people that SAMe has been very beneficial for them in one or all of those categories. So it never hurts to try something, but make sure that you're giving it at least 3 months to see if it's going to impact you in any way. A lot of people use something for 1 month and they're like, it didn't really do anything. You may not know that. You may not have given it enough time. 3 months is a good rule of thumb for any product to see if you notice a difference, if you feel any better, or if your blood work has changed in any way. And that's a great foundation. So there is an inflammation connection. So inflammation is a key way in which our immune system communicates with our brain. The brain responds to peripheral inflammatory signals in a unique fashion. So we have sickness behavior, disruption of homeostasis, and recruitment of immune cells. So inflammatory response influences neurotransmitter systems that regulate behavior like motivation, avoidance, anxiety. And then the sickness behavior includes fatigue, depression, lack of or excessive appetite, and brain fog. So if any of that sounds familiar and you know you're not sick, there could be some inflammation going on, and it wouldn't hurt to start supplementing with a B complex vitamin, bringing in some SAMe, bringing in more leafy green vegetables. I know that's really hard for a lot of people. But keep in mind that when our body is dysfunctioning, it's sending you a message. You need to take care of you, and you are important. So it's time to start feeding yourself the right things and giving yourself the right vitamins. Then we have probiotics, which support a healthy mood. Of course, they support a healthy gut. That's what everybody goes for. You know, if they're having digestive issues, they immediately think, oh, I need probiotics. Probiotics are for the healthy gut flora. So yes, absolutely. If you're having gut issues, find a good probiotic that works for you. A lot of times it's experimental. The first one you try might not be the best one. You might end up trying a few before you find one that works really well. I suggest an encapsulated, dual encapsulated, or enteric coated probiotic, which is actually designed to not break open until it reaches that small intestine. The reason why that's so important is because it's not breaking open in the stomach. When that happens, when it breaks open or dissolves in the stomach, we have absolutely no idea how much of it actually made its way to your small and large intestines, and we have no idea how much is actually going to work for you. Okay. So In human studies, our brain-gut connection favors a multitude of strains, so not just one or two, but as you can see here, it's showing 3 bifido and 3 lacto here. And then of course, there are others, but this is just an example. What I was taught in life extension and what I have read is that you want to make sure that you have at least an equal amount of bifido and lacto strains in whatever probiotic you choose, and aim for 15 billion colony forming units for daily maintenance, or higher if you're on an antibiotic regimen. All right, it's very important. Do not take your probiotic and your antibiotic together. If you take an antibiotic in the morning, take your probiotic at night. It is best to take a probiotic at night anyway, because that's when our body restores and repairs, is while we sleep. You don't have as much digestion going on. Your energy isn't being focused on several things. All right, so as you can see here, a probiotic can modulate inflammation and influence the function of our central nervous system. Certain probiotics restore microbial balance in the gut and produce neurotransmitters. So a lot of people don't realize that serotonin production occurs in the gut, so a healthy flora will support this production. People who are on antidepressants, those antidepressants actually steal the serotonin from the gut to bring it to the brain. So if you don't have an adequate gut flora happening, that serotonin is not being produced fast enough, and there's a good chance that both your brain and now your gut are suffering. So find yourself a really good probiotic that falls under the guidelines I mentioned, and like I said, it could take a little bit of use. Like the first one may not be the best one. Maybe it upset your stomach, or maybe it caused some bowel issues, so you have to try a different one. So you don't have to do your homework on that to pick one that works best for you. Okay, but it is a great idea. So probiotic consumption has been shown to decrease stress levels and elevate mood. So there is a connection between our gut and our brain and how our mood is affected. And then there's fish oil. Fish oil is very important to our entire body. Low omega-3, EPA, and DHA consumption has been linked to depressive mood, irritable behaviors, and inflammation in the body. Fish oil and algae forms are best because they are already EPA and DHA, whereas anything coming from flax or hemp, any of the seed oils, those are ALAs, and they have to be converted to the EPA and DHA form. And in a lot of cases, we can't do that. It's just not enough to benefit us. You would be consuming copious amounts of those oils, and there's no, because everybody's different, there is no known amount of what you would actually need to make what your body needs in that EPA and DHA. So you really are better off going with fish oil or algae. Algae's been found to be very beneficial because that's where the fish are getting it. So if you don't want to get it from fish, get it in those algae forms for the best benefit. Okay, so as you can see here, consistent with epidemiological findings, patients with higher levels of omega-3s in the blood and brain display a healthier mood. EPA and DHA are some of the most powerful nutrients for modulating inflammation in the body. DHA is effective for supporting neuronal cell health, and these nutrients have been shown to support mood both during and after pregnancy. It's not just for pregnant women, though. It is for all of us, men and women alike, even children. There are special doses made, supplements made for kids. It is especially important for brain development and, of course, for modulating inflammation. So we need to make sure we're controlling that inflammation in our body. And a lot of us don't eat a lot of fish in order for it to dominate the omega-6 that's happening. And that's causing a lot of inflammation as well, and an imbalance. So it is important to make sure that fish oil or algae, that omega-3, is a part of every diet. And then we have magnesium. It's needed for healthy bones. So a lot of people don't realize magnesium is very necessary for bone health. It's one of the key minerals missing from a lot of people's daily regimen, because they don't realize that magnesium is actually something we need on a regular basis. It promotes relaxation, bowel regularity, and healthy blood pressure. And there is a form called L-threonate that is the only magnesium that crosses the blood-brain barrier. So it's not a substitute for any other magnesium and vice versa. So if you're taking L-threonate, most of that is going to the brain. It's only a very, very small amount is going to the bones and throughout the rest of the body. So when you do supplement with these magnesiums, you want to take the magnesium L-threonate for the brain function, and you want to take anything like citrate, oxide, glycinate, chelate. Those forms are for the bones and the rest of the body. So as you can see here, our cells contain magnesium, and when we're stressed, calcium enters the cells. This allows nerve cells to become excited and our muscles tense. Magnesium can help with that tension. So when stress has passed, the magnesium pushes the calcium back out of the cell and everything relaxes. So if we don't have enough magnesium, calcium remains inside the cells, and that makes us feel more stressed. So calcium can stress us out if we don't have an adequate amount of magnesium. See, you learned something new. Do you feel better? So it's also vital for GABA function, an inhibitory neurotransmitter that supports a healthy mood and eases nervous tension. So hormones regulated by magnesium are crucial for calming the brain and promoting relaxation. And then now, again, this is mentioned, the magnesium threonate is unique because it can pass through the blood-brain barrier to support cognitive function, healthy mood, and healthy stress response. So threonate is what the magnesium is bound to get it across the brain barrier. That's the only thing they found that they were able to attach to the magnesium where it was capable of bringing it to the brain, whereas things like citrate, glycinate, chelate, malate, oxide, they can't cross the blood-brain barrier. So a lot of times our brain doesn't get the magnesium that it needs. Keep in mind too that a lot of magnesium we used to get from our water, and due to purification processes, it's just not there anymore. And the same goes for food. Our soil is depleted. It's not getting into our food, and we're not getting what we need. So that's another good reason to supplement with magnesium. And then we have curcumin. Curcumin is a very popular supplement. And I really like to drive home that curcumin is the active constituent of turmeric. So what that means is when you buy a turmeric product and it says it has black pepper, and they make it sound all big and crazy and wonderful, and they're like, black pepper is going to help with absorption, or BioPerine, which is black pepper, and they charge an arm and a leg for it, and you have to take 5 or 6 pills 3 times a day. The reason you're having to take so much is because it's the curcumin that your body needs, and you need that much turmeric to get the tiny amount of curcumin that your body needs for all of the wonderful things to take place, like the neurotransmitter production, the inflammatory signaling, the free radical quenching, overall health benefit, the modulation of inflammation throughout the body. All of these things are made possible by curcumin. So when you see turmeric and then you see above it a product that says curcumin 95 and it's 500 milligrams, but the turmeric below is 4,000 milligrams and you have to take 6 pills 3 times daily for best benefit, that's because you have to take those 6 pills to get the 500 milligrams of curcumin that your body needs. So you're really better off purchasing a curcumin supplement for best results. It's going to be in its active constituent form. It's going to give you what you need, and that is what you're really going for. So keep that in mind. So curcumin does all the work, and as you can see here, a lot of the work has been done in animal models, and more human studies are on their way. So the FDA requires that all studies are done originally on rats or mice. That's a requirement. And once they're done on rats or mice and they're shown to be safe or have a positive effect, then they can go to human trials. If you want more information on curcumin and all the science behind it, I urge you to visit lifeextension.com and go into their magazine section or their article sections and just look up curcumin. I mean, there is a plethora of information, scientific information on curcumin and how wonderful it is. So I encourage you to go on that website. And then we have vitamin D, vitamin D3 specifically. It's vitamin D in your blood. It's vitamin D3 as the most absorbable form. So the best form out there is vitamin D3, cholecalciferol. It's typically from sheep lanolin. Keep in mind that lanolin is from sheep wool, and the sheep are not harmed. So if you're vegan or vegetarian and you think, oh, animals are used in this, I'm not going near it, sheep want to be sheared. They want to be shaved because that wool gets really hot and miserable, and they're happy when they get shaved. So keep in mind that it's coming from the lanolin from sheep wool, and it is the most absorbable form of vitamin D out there. So look for vitamin D3. But here, as it mentions, cholesterol is turned into vitamin D in the skin, where the skin is exposed to UVB rays from the sun. So that is how we synthesize it normally. Most of the time we're avoiding the sun because it's too hot, and then all of a sudden it's winter and we're not getting any at all. So the amount of these rays present in sunlight declines significantly in winter months, and so do our vitamin D levels. Many studies and experts have suggested that declining levels of vitamin D is why people tend to experience the winter blues. Vitamin D supplements combine well with fish oil to help women, and it helps with supportive pregnancy and older populations who might not spend as much time outdoors. So it's very important that you know your blood levels. 20% of Americans suffer from winter depression, and that is associated to low vitamin D levels. A good dose is 4,000 to 5,000 units, international units, that's the IU. And it's ideal to have your vitamin D levels tested by your doctor. Optimal levels are anything between 40 and 80. A lot of times I've seen in the past with many customers that I've spoke to that their doctors told them they were fine at 29, but they were not feeling fine. It's because you're not. Okay, when we are below 40, you need to be supplementing with a supplement, with a vitamin D supplement. Your body needs vitamin D to function. And then there's St. Johnswort. It's actually prescribed in Europe for mental health conditions. It supports calming of the mind through GABA neuropathways and promotes healthy serotonin production. So it's a plant with yellow flowers. The medicinal uses were first recorded in ancient Greece. It's been used for a really long time. It's done in teas, tablets, and capsules, and it influences many different aspects of brain function, as I mentioned. So it helps with neurotransmitter balance. It helps with that homeostasis, and it supports cognitive function. And then there's flavonoids. These are antioxidants. They help with oxidative stress, scavenge free radicals, which helps with mood support. So it mentions here grapeseed, pine bark, like pycnogenol, and then other sources of proanthocyanidins, which are beneficial for supporting mood. Anything that is an antioxidant is going to provide these benefits. So as we mentioned earlier, in terms of food, any of your fruits, your vegetables, your brightly colored, like your dark, I guess not bright, dark colored berries, very high in antioxidants. Grapes are high in antioxidants. Anything that you can consume that is helping take out the trash, that's going to help you feel better. That's going to help your body deal with inflammation. And that's what makes flavonoids so important. So it's good to have, whether it's a supplement or you're just adding more fruits and vegetables to your diet, trying to keep the stress and the oxidative stress down. Flavonoids, antioxidants are a great way to do that yourself without having to spend, you really don't have to spend a lot of money on supplements. You should really be adding fruits, berries, and leafy green vegetables into the mix of your diet. And then you have, of course, adequate micronutrients. So micronutrients are your multivitamin, basically. All of the nutrients, the supplements that you need to keep yourself going, to be where you need to be. And that is what a multivitamin is. So they are crucial to whole body function, and a multivitamin alone can help significantly supplement what you're not getting from your diet, hence the term supplement. It's supplementing what you're not getting from your diet. So this graph is from a slide where participants supplemented with a multivitamin and measured mood before and during. So this was placebo versus multivitamin, and as you can see, the inflammation was higher, their mood, the impact on their mood and everything, they were far worse off, the people who didn't get the multivitamin, than the people who did. So they felt better, they had less depression, less irritability, and a better stress reaction. So this was a graph provided that showed that a multivitamin actually did help significantly in the study where people felt better and they reported having a more positive mood. So there are other micronutrients like zinc and magnesium that have been shown to support emotional well-being. So that's why a multivitamin, multimineral is so important, is it's giving you what you're probably not getting from your diet. And you could have a great diet, but doesn't mean that you're getting everything you need. And the vitamin doesn't have to be anything spectacular. It can be, you know, a whole food vitamin 1 a day. It could be Alive gummies, just something that is putting that back in that you may not be getting. It's filling the gaps, and look at it that way. So in summary, many children and adults struggle to maintain a healthy, positive mood because the brain feels under threat. So for lifestyle change, we think positive thoughts. Remember that the happier we are and the happier we think, that's a reflection. So we have to put that out there to get it back. All right. Finish your to-do list, smile more, exercise, go outside, don't look at the sun, but be in the sun. Try yoga, light massage, acupuncture if you want to. But like I said, it's as simple as disconnecting, watching your favorite show, reading a book, reading an article in a magazine that you keep putting off, something that you do for you. That is how we disconnect. That is how we cope and manage. Okay, going for a walk, walking your dog, assuming your dog is a good walker. That may be stressful. Diet, avoid inflammatory foods, enjoy nutrient-dense foods, fermented foods and fish. Try a variety of healthy supplements or a really good multivitamin. If you need help picking one out, come see me. I'm here Tuesday through Saturday, okay? Different supplements work through different pathways in the body, so remember that. The reason why we need so many different things is they're doing so many different things for us. So a lot of people take a multi because they know they aren't really that worried about what they're eating, but they are worried that they're not getting enough, you know, nutrients from it. So it is filling the gaps. It does help with those voids. And if you need help, like I said, I'm here Tuesday through Saturday. Sorry about that glitch there. So I would be happy to email you any information we've discussed today. And this is a recording. I forgot. So the way I presented it in the beginning, I said we could answer questions at the end. I apologize. I won't be answering questions because you can't give me any. So if you do have questions or you do want any information on any of these supplements, I'd be happy to email them to you. You can email Desiree. And she can get in touch with me and tell me what people are requesting, or you can just email me personally. It's nhc.hs@naturalgrocers.com. You can also come in if you're okay going out and stop in the store, say hi, and I can get you a physical copy of any of the information of these supplements that you might be interested in. So thank you so much for listening and being here, and I hope you're well. And I look forward to seeing everyone's smiling faces again soon. You guys have a great night or great day, whatever time it is that you're watching this, and we will hopefully talk soon. Bye.